Joined by Brad Pickler. Coach, first off, congratulations on your second consecutive state championship, number 7 overall, if I recall. And, I think that's a state record, is it not?
Yeah, it is. In softball, no one's. There's a couple that have 4. Golden West has won 4, and one other school, I think Mount Stack, has won 4. So 7 pretty much is a record for state championships.
I want to ask you about the team, but before we get to that, the headline that I see going through my head is 22 consecutive years for you to take a team to the state Final Four. It just seems unbelievable.
Yeah, it's been a good run, and we've been pretty lucky. I've had talented kids and good coaches, and the kids have just come through in the playoffs. And it's we'll probably look back at it. It's a pretty good record going to the state finals 22 straight years. It's hard to do. It's like the World Series, so it's an accomplishment. It's definitely an accomplishment. But you got to have good players to do that. You have to have good players.
Tell me a little bit about this team and kind of maybe some of their, I don't want to say downs, but I mean there were, I don't know, 8 losses this year, which is
right.
Not a high number, but maybe high for our team.
It's about average. 6 or 8 usually is what we've been getting. 5 to 6, but this team was just big time overachievers. I mean, our number 1 pitcher went down in March and didn't pitch again. My number 1 hitter and shortstop broke her leg in March and didn't play again. And we usually, when that happens in softball, teams have a falter a little bit, but these guys just picked up the slack and achieved more than any team that we've ever had. And they were probably the funnest team we've ever had just because they worked so hard. And the pitchers that filled in, the people that went to the other positions when those guys got hurt, it was unbelievable. And they were flawless this week in Bakersfield. They played as well as any state championship team we've ever had. So we were really proud of them because the kids were nice kids and they worked hard. And they deserved it. Nobody thought we were going to win the state championship. We were definitely the underdog.
How often do you rely on a freshman pitcher to come through?
It just depends. If they come in and they're the number 1, we sometimes do rely on the freshman pitcher to come in. So it just depends on the situation. Usually we like to have 1 freshman, 1 sophomore, so when one leaves, the other one comes in. And we like to put a little more pressure on the sophomore, but we've had a lot of years where the freshman has come in and done the job, and she's been there for 2 years and doing it. Because they only have 2 years here, so we're not recruiting them to sit the bench. We're pretty much recruiting them to come in and play right away, and they know that.
Do you think it set you up well for next year being in that situation?
I think we'll be good. We have the 1 girl coming back. We have another girl coming in from a local high school, and it's going to give us a good pitching staff. And we have some real quality players coming back from this year's team. So I think next year we should have a pretty decent team. We should be okay.
What's the key element, do you think, for you in a championship team?
I think it's just consistency and having them want to play hard. Just getting the girls to compete. And once they buy into your system that, if we're going to compete in every game and play hard, that we have a chance. And we've told every kid that's came here for the last 20 years, if you come here, you might have a chance to play for a state championship. And by going to the state finals for 22 years, we haven't really lied to them. So they know when they come here, they have to compete, and they're held to maybe a little higher standards than some other teams.
Obviously, a state championship is a big deal, but I mean, how big of a deal in this state? So populous, so large, so popular sport.
People don't realize how big it is because there's 80 schools that play softball in California, and to win it, you have to be good and you have to be lucky at the same time. Everything's got to fall into place. It's real hard to win it. I have some friends that are coaches that have been almost coaching as long as I have, never had a state championship team. And not that they're bad coaches, and not that they haven't had good teams. It's just you have to be lucky and you have to be consistent, and everything's got to fall into place.
Tell me about beating a team that's been perfect, and I guess doing it twice.
Right. They came in 42-0, and as long as I've done it, there's never been a team that's come into the state tournament 42 or undefeated. But that just proves to us, they had to be a decent team because somewhere along the line in softball, if you make an error or as your team hits the ball at people, there's a chance you could lose a game even though you're better than somebody. On any given day, you can lose a softball game. So when they came in 42-0, that's pretty much flawless for them. So they played for 42 games and nobody beat them. And it was a concern going in, but we knew if we played our game and did what we had to do, we had a shot to beat them. And we ended up beating them twice. So they ended up with 2 losses. And we in the South, we always kind of say we play some tougher competition. It gets us ready for the playoffs. And that might come into play a little bit too, because we had such a tough schedule this year. We played every top team that we could in Southern California, and I think that really paid off in the end.
Brad, thank you.
Okay.
Congratulations.
All right, thank you.